Hello, scholars. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to part two of critical appraisal of the literature. Uh, so today we're going to dive deeper into the specifics of how to evaluate research studies, focusing on the methodology, the design, and how results are analyzed. Here, we'll see here on slide 2 that when evaluating a study, one of the very first things that we need to look at is how well the study describes its subjects. Are the selection methods clear? Did they use a control group? And was it adequately matched? Avoiding sample bias is crucial. If the researcher unintentionally introduces variables during the selection process, the results could be skewed, leading to unreliable conclusions. All right, so here's an example of selection bias. A study compared contraceptive failure rates between IUDs and birth control pills. They selected women who had used IUDs for at least 1 year, but no similar criteria were applied to the pill users. As you can imagine, such differences could easily distort the results. Were the IUD users truly representative of all IUD users? Without carefully matching both groups, the study's conclusion might be unreliable. Assessing methodology. So we're going to look at methodology. Can the study be replicated based on description? If the methods aren't detailed enough for another researcher to duplicate, that raises a red flag. We also need to assess if the intervention used in the study was appropriate for answering the research question. Finally, was the population size suitable for the study's objectives? All of these factors are critical in evaluating the study's rigor. Documentation and procedures are essential elements to critically evaluate. Were the tools and equipment described in enough detail? How was the data collected? And were the instructions to participants clear? The study should also specify who collected the data and how patient protections and how the patient was protected as well, like informed consent, so on and so forth. And so data analysis and observations. In terms of data analysis, data analysis is another key point. Were the statistical methods appropriate for the type of data collection, for the type of data collected? A good study should account for all relevant variables. So for instance, in a study on smoking and coronary artery disease, the observations seem straightforward, but 60% of smokers quit over the course of 15 years, which was a factor the researchers didn't account for, thereby skewing the results. Such overlooked variables can significantly alter study conclusions. So looking at the results, we should check whether the hypothesis was confirmed or disproved. Do the critical values and probability levels support the findings? And just as important, does the presentation of data match the text? One common mistake is the repetition of text and tables, which can indicate a lack of thorough analysis. Lastly, the conclusion. And so this is where the author wraps up their findings and implications. Are the key results summarized in a concise and a clear way? A strong conclusion ties the study together, reminding us of the significance of critically appraising the methods and the results. So in summary, critical appraisal requires us to ask key questions. Who was included in the study? Was the population accurately represented? And is the article clear enough for another researcher to replicate it? If you can answer these questions, you'll be able to separate robust studies from flawed ones. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me today in this two-part series on critical appraisal of the literature. I hope it's been valuable and that you'll continue to apply these skills as you review future studies. See you next time. It's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, you've got this. All right, you're doing great. Keep up the great work. Until next time.